Informative, educational, tutorial, inspirational. Now another tip from Brian S. Red.
Hey, how's it going? Got an email about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that, from kakejelly. And here's what kakejelly writes. Hi Brian, I was wondering if you would be able to do an in-depth look at the DN-X1500S, which is a Denon mixer, for me. So, yeah, okay. I'm not exactly Denon tech support, but okay, fine. Just so you know, for the first time today, I opened this book. I actually had to take it out of the plastic, untape it, you know, the plastic, and pull this book out. Now there is an X1500S and an X1500. The difference is, one is black and one is silver. The S is silver. So here you go. And kakejelly, here's what you can do for me, since I made this video for you. Actually subscribe to my videos, and you got to comment on at least 9 of them. Here's a quick overview of what all this stuff is on the mixer. Up here you have your microphone controls. Right here you have your external effects controls. Right here is where you have all your headphone controls. Of course you have 4 faders and all your fader controls as far as EQs and gains and such. Here's your crossfader, and right here is the digital display window, which is really going to help you out when you are using either your internal effects or your sampler. And up here, of course, we have our main level, booth, and balance. There are 2 microphone inputs on this mixer. A main mic, which is an XLR, and the auxiliary mic, which has a 1/4 inch input. You get your own level, high, mid, and low for each microphone, plus a post and talk over button. This area right here lets you control your external effects. You can assign the effect to whatever you'd like, including the sampler, the master, the main mic, or any of the individual faders. Of course, you can turn your effect on and off, and right here you have a wet-dry knob. For your headphones, you get split Q. You can pan between Q and master. You got a headphone level and a headphone input, which many of you know can come in handy. Okay, at the bottom of your fader controls, you have a crossfader assign switch. You can assign each fader individually to either A position of the crossfader, post, which is just regular up and down of the fader with no crossfader assignment, or B. And I have this particular one set to A. Here's your Q button. Each fader has one. And above here you have your EQ on and off button. Here's a cool feature. My X500 that's in my mobile system has this as well. And that's input assign. You have 4 faders on the mixer and you have 8 line inputs. Any one of your faders, 1 through 4, can be assigned to any line you wish, 1 through 8, simply by turning this dial. You can do that on the fly if you wish. And of course, each fader has its individual gain, high, mid, and low controls. The crossfader here is known as a flex fader. The way that works is, if you'd like to, with these 2 screws you can remove the crossfader and adjust a little screw inside of there that adjusts your tension. Maybe you want it tighter, maybe you want it looser, you have that option. Also, you have crossfader start A and crossfader start B. Once you get into CD players with either Q start or fader start or whatever the company's calling it, I think they're all compatible. American Audio works on this. You can just flick these switches on, and as soon as you move the crossfader over, your CD player or MP3 player starts automatically. Move it back, it turns off. Kind of a cool feature. Also, you have your crossfader contour knob. It's a knob on this one instead of a switch, so you can give it as little or as much as you want when it comes to your crossfader contour. Here's where you control your internal effects and also where you control your BPM. Of course, you can assign the effects to whatever channel you'd like. This lets you flip between modes. We'll look at that later on the little screen. Turn your effects on and off. There's a Q for effects, so you can see what the effect's going to be like before you actually apply it to the song. And a tap button for your BPM. Here are the sampler controls. Of course, you have an assign knob like everything else. You can turn it off, sample faders 1 through 4, main mic or master. Here are the assign buttons for the sampler. This is kind of like your start point and your end point, A and B. You can cue your sample. You can also trim your sample. We'll get into that later. You do that through mode. And crossfader assign yes for your sampler. Here you have balance, main level, booth assign, booth level, and of course your main output level meters. And I don't know if I mentioned this before or not, but this mixer does have pre-fade level meters, which are really smart. I've done other videos on pre-fade level. It's a good idea to have them on your mixer. And it's got an on-off button right up here. Well, he did say he wanted a detailed explanation, didn't he?